from Belgrade, Serbia. It was a beautiful day today. It was about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and it is International Women's Day today, so happy International Women's Day. It is amazing to be a woman here in Belgrade, Serbia, at least um, as an American woman living here for the last 4 years. I feel very happy. So, if you're watching the replay, happy International Women's Day. I'll wait for a few to join, but today's live, we will talk about that you can have it all. I know growing up, many people says it's impossible, and the point of having it all is always targeted towards women. Like, can you have it all? Yes, not at the same time. But I want to talk about when it comes to living abroad. Many Americans, Brits, and Australians, and other, I guess, nationalities, people, given current events, are looking for alternatives to live abroad, not only just as expats, but finding a place where they can permanently call home. Welcome, welcome, everyone, and let me know where you're watching from. And last year, I traveled to this two-island nation called São Tomé and Príncipe, because I'm a spokeswoman for a licensed marketing agency that provides citizenship by investment services, offshore trusts, and I never even heard of the island until it was brought up. I thought it was somewhere, I think it was in the Caribbean. They're like, no, this island, São Tomé and Príncipe, it is in West Africa in the Gulf of Guinea. It's a former Portuguese colony, and it's had independence since 1975. So most people speak Portuguese there. They speak some English, and I want to talk about how this place can be your solution. Hello. Hi, you're a Brit and you moved to Spain just before the lockdown 2020. Crazy time to move countries, but I made it work. Love your channel. Thank you so much and welcome. I've heard that Britain is, a lot of Brits love Spain. Let me know what part of Spain, because I've met Brits when I was living in Thailand, traveling in China, Hong Kong. Like, British are everywhere. I've never been to Spain, so I'm glad that you made it work, especially in 2020, because at some time during the pandemic, Americans were barred from going to the EU. Though, back to Sao Tome and Principe, I just did not know this country existed. Like, I've traveled a lot over the last, I think now 12 years. And when I was brought this opportunity to go on the ground to Sao Tome and Principe, as they announced their newest citizenship by investment program, which is the cheapest in the world. Your Cal de Finstart on the coast of Blanca, East Coast. Okay, very nice, very nice. When I never even heard of the whole term citizenship by investment. I've lived abroad. I've been the expat, and I know that term is like politically charged. I started my journey abroad as a graduate student, then as an English teacher. I know people ask me, Blair, how have you traveled to all these places? And I'm around a lot of people that frequently travel or live this lifestyle, but I forget this is just not normal to bounce country to country in all these places. So really teaching English has enabled me to bounce around the world. But I've always lived as an expat, and I only have an American passport for now. So when I got this opportunity to be a spokeswoman and go on the ground and learn how governments, since, the early 80s, at least officially, it was St. Kitts and Nevis that started the Citizenship by Investment program in the world. So, this person's not saying something nice. Let's be nice in the comments. The whole, I guess, investment migration industry, where people can either make a donation to the government, you can buy property, and therefore buying property in a certain country, you get citizenship, you can buy government bonds, you can start a business. There are a lot of options out there. So this is really like the next level of having the opportunity to permanently live abroad. Because even if you're an expat, if you have a good job, you have a work permit or work visa, you're still a guest in the country. At any moment, you can leave. You don't have the same rights as a citizen. And especially in today's global climate, you really want to have options. That means having more than one passport. Yes, it's good to start with the residency, but the next level is to get that citizenship. So last year I went to São Tomé Príncipe. You can look it up on Google Maps. And from Belgrade, I traveled to Lisbon. So since it's a former Portuguese colony, the most popular route is via Lisbon, and Lisbon is like a direct flight, 6-hour flight from Lisbon to São Tomé. So São Tomé is the one island, and then Príncipe is the island north of it. So direct flight to São Tomé. If you're on the African continent, you can go via Luanda in Angola, and or you can go through Accra. So yeah, there's options. But immediately when I arrived and I was studying the country and learning more about, wow, as an individual applying for the Citizenship by Investment program, you make a government donation of about 95,000 US dollars, and they do a due diligence process. You provide all the legal paperwork, proof of funds, and if you have more questions, you can email me on this live, because most Citizenship by Investment programs, especially in the Caribbean, the minimum starting price is about like 200,000 US dollars and up. And over the last years, it has gotten more expensive because depending on the region of the world, politics, the US is quite an aggressive neighbor, so they kind of push other islands. And once you have that passport, especially if you want to go to the EU or go to the US, or you want to travel to certain places where you need a visa, it really opens a world of opportunities. So, yes, thank you. Happy International Women's Day. Oh, from Montenegro. Very, very nice. I think the Balkans area, women, we are celebrated here in International Women's Day. I don't know what the weather was like over there, but today it was really, really nice. So, back to São Tomé and Príncipe. Yeah, so having that second passport, the benefits really opens you up to a world of opportunity. I think people really want options. And for many people, having that plan B, having that extra passport so you can just, I don't know, if the world's coming to end, you can just be like, okay, peace out. I am not going to be here. Not all passports are equal, you know? And, okay, let's see. This person is not welcome here. Okay. So, yeah, having the options to get up and leave if the world's coming to an end, or if you want to, spend a holiday and have to worry about doing visa runs. I did a lot of visa runs when I lived in Thailand. Even as an English teacher, it takes time to get all that paperwork done. So while my school did hire me, I had a contract. I had to go to Cambodia I went to Vietnam. I remember in 2015, when I first got my big girl teaching job, I went to Vietnam, and then I had to come back into the country, and my school applied for my paperwork. And it did take like several weeks until I got my work permit and visa. So if you don't have to deal with all of that drama when you move abroad and you live abroad, having that passport where you could basically navigate the country as a citizen, where you can easily open a bank account, because for many Americans, at least, some countries, they don't like to work with Americans, and it's just the IRS, you have to always report with your tax ID or your social security number when you're opening a bank account. That can be a hassle for some people. So São Tomé and Príncipe is a great opportunity to easily say, hey, you know what? You don't have to live there permanently or go there to explore, because the whole entire process for not only just for citizenship by investment, but in most citizenship by investment programs, it's done remotely. So what makes São Tomé and Príncipe the most attractive is because the process is like 3 months. So yeah, you're not being nice. I don't want you on my channel. So you're not, yeah, we need to be respectful. So if we cannot be respectful during my live, you will be removed. And again, this is for people that are interested in exploring their options to, have it all. So depending on what your nationality is, and depending on your goals and also family size, when you're applying for citizenship by investment, you could apply as a single applicant, and if you're married, your spouse is included. If you have children, they will get their citizenships, and I believe if you want to apply for your parents, there's that option as well. So yeah, there we go. Good. This person was just really, really at it. Honestly, on the internet, you can attract all types of people. So back to São Tomé and Príncipe, and if you're watching, please like. So for many people, getting a second citizenship or an extra passport, it's not only just for you, but it can be for your spouse. It can be for your children. It could be even for your siblings. Some Caribbean islands, they do allow that option. And who doesn't love options, right? So when I went to São Tomé and Príncipe, it was September 2025. Again, I had not heard of this place. I just knew that, okay, the government launched this new program. They want to bring foreigners to either make a donation, buy property, and I just went with my eyes open. I think it's important if you're going to live abroad, go in with a blank slate. Don't be biased. And even if you don't want to live in the country, having that passport in your drawer just in case is a good option. But when I went there on the ground, and I was there for a week, I did not know what to expect. But one of the benefits that I like being on the ground in São Tomé and Príncipe is that people are really friendly. You want to be in a country where people are friendly, they're kind to strangers, because some countries are actually really hostile to strangers. They like, okay, yes, we need tourists, but we're going to make this as uncomfortable as possible for you. Or if you're lost or you don't know, São Tomé is the opposite. Kind and friendly people. Since it's an island nation, all the food is fresh. These days, everyone wants to be healthy. Everyone wants to be, I guess, slim and trim. So no need to be on Ozempic or on GLP-1s, because the food and the way you live, you're just going to naturally be slim, right? And the food is really good. So I ate a lot of fish. I ate a lot of fresh rice and beans, and it reminded me actually of my grandma's food. Also, one of the benefits, and I kind of got in trouble with this when I shared on my TikTok, is that I had a driver, I had a cleaner, I had a cook, and it was just such a pleasant trip, because it's really the standard when you live on the African continent, where you do have people who provide these dignified services to drive you around, to cook your meals, to clean your home. I met other locals. They were just like, yeah, I have a staff. The staff has like specific quarters to help you manage your home. Nobody's expecting you to do everything by yourself. So if you're a woman and you're just exhausted all the time, it's because you don't have help. I was raised with my whole entire extended family. I'm the youngest of 4 girls, and it was just not, since I live in Europe and I know Serbia, not everyone has the means to have cleaners. But some of my friends, they actually do have someone clean their house once a week, So it was nice during my business trip to have all these services. So for those that are looking for an alternative, want to have it all and want to have options, it is definitely affordable to have a housekeeper, to have cleaners, to have a driver, to have a gardener, to have security, to have, what you need to make your life easier. And these are dignified jobs. I think that's why I got in trouble, because people are like, who do you think you are, Blair? You know, to, have servants. And I never said servants. These people are cleaners. These are honest jobs. Everyone can't be a banker, a lawyer, or a doctor. So to buy a home or to even live or even travel to São Tomé Príncipe, you can be very comfortable. And that is just the norm. You pay people, obviously. But that's one thing I really made my business trip easier, because every day from like early morning to the evenings, because the sun sets also quite early. So now that we're like in spring, for example, that's why I actually pushed back my live, because the lighting was a bit weird. São Tomé and Príncipe is quite near like the equator, so the sun goes down quite early. But during the day, and the sunrise early, it's really nice. They have, since it's an island, all these beaches, beautiful beaches. I had my driver take me all the way down to the south of the island, and we visited this tiki bar. It's like one of the only ones that has a private beach. And the lady, she actually was a soccer coach for a women's soccer team, owned this tiki bar, and she was just telling me the story behind. It's called the Seven Sisters Sea, because that's where they sat on that side of the ocean. So it was really, really beautiful. I'm not a beach person, but if you are a beach person, you can buy beach property. There's a lot of houses or houses that need to be renovated, or land that you can build on to build a beautiful home. So with a lot of different citizenship by investment programs, or I guess attractive expat hubs like Paris, Madrid, or I don't think if London is attractive. I know there are a lot of expats there, but that is a very expensive city to live. Bangkok, everyone loves Bangkok. I have yet to meet someone that does not like Thailand. Thailand is a great place for expats. You have many expats, and especially people love the weather. But São Tomé, beautiful weather, friendly people, and it's not too expensive. I'll say that. You can live quite comfortably, and if you just want to be by the beach, be by the beach. If you are into organic living, because all the food is organic. They don't use chemicals in their soil. So one of their biggest exports is cacao and cacao nuts to make chocolate, and coffee beans. Now, I'm not a coffee drinker, but most of the world loves coffee. So you can even create like a coffee business and just export to the world. I actually went to a coffee farm called Nova Mocha. So there's a lot of history behind that. So you have a lot of opportunities if you're an entrepreneur. I went to the different banks it's crypto friendly. A lot of restaurants. I went to like one of the 5-star hotels. So there's a lot of opportunity there if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an investor. But if you just want to quietly live your best life, that is a perfect escape. I know people in Europe always dream of Italy. I'm sorry, personally, I've been to Italy when I was in high school, and I just didn't get it. Maybe I have to go back and just see like what the big deal is, but I just remember it was very hot, it's very expensive, and I just don't care for it. Greece, I've been to also Greece, but again, the Greek economy is struggling, and the Greek language is quite hard. And I don't know how I'd fare well. But paradise, São Tomé Príncipe. And with Italy and Greece, I think it's quite hard to get citizenship. I know there are residency programs, and at least for the citizenship by investment programs in Europe, are on the more expensive sides. So, oh, you're Greece. Well, my birthday was in January, but that is very, very sweet. I turned 36 in January, so I had a very nice birthday. Yeah, the citizenship by investment programs in the EU and Europe are quite expensive. They don't want they figured out people are trying to play this game of buying their way into Europe. So many of the programs, they either have very stringent processes. They have high prices. So you're thinking about spending, you must have at least in capital like 500,000 euros and up, versus other options like São Tomé Príncipe or the Caribbean. I did a live about that. I was in Dominica, Grenada, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. So those beautiful places, but the minimum starting price for citizenship by investment out there is about $200,000, or at least euros when it comes to professional service fees. So you all that's been here, you feel free to ask some questions below, because I feel like it's better when you're interactive versus just me like lecturing. Have anybody looked at the map of where São Tomé and Príncipe is? Because again, I've never heard of this country. I did not know where it was. I didn't know what the people looked like. I didn't know what to expect. There's just so many, when it comes to islands, I haven't traveled to many islands in my travels. Like the islands that I've been to has been New Zealand, Japan. I don't think Singapore, technically Singapore's on an island. Yeah, those are like the only two technical islands or archipelagos that I've been to. But São Tomé and Príncipe is my first ever like real island that I've been to, and I have never heard of it. And there's just so much ocean above. It's far, not like far from like New Zealand. Like when I was in New Zealand, that is just far from everything. I think their closest neighbors, in the Gulf, you have Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, but they have Cape Verde. And also, fun fact, since São Tomé and Príncipe, or we call it STP, is a former Portuguese colony, if you get a São Tomé citizenship, you are eligible after a couple years to apply for a Portuguese citizenship. So, you said you heard about São Tomé, but really don't know a lot about it. What has been your experience? Okay, great, perfect. This live is about São Tomé. So, former Portuguese island, 2 islands. São Tomé is the main island that I went to. Príncipe is more north, and it's like an hour flight. You get there via Lisbon, if you're flying from Europe, or if you're flying from the African continent, Luanda, Angola, Accra, Ghana. Most people speak Portuguese, French, Spanish, and then English. A lot of Europeans do like to go there for holidays. So I met a lot of Italians. I met a lot of Portuguese people that were from the main island. Not many Brits or Americans, but I think they're more like backpackers, and they have a citizenship by investment program for a single applicant. So the main applicant, and if you have a spouse or you have children, you'd be eligible. But for a single person, it's $95,000 for the program, or for a family of 4, it's about $105,000. So this is probably like the cheapest program for CBI program in the world. And it's quite a good deal. And the whole process you can apply remotely. So after this live, if you have any additional questions, you can email me at blair@blairandbeyond.com. And I have my team that I work with. We have the lawyers and accountants and everyone that does the whole entire paperwork, because you have to be a licensed agency to handle and do the paperwork. And within like 3 months, I think this is the fastest one in the world, where you'll be able to get your citizenship. 3 months. For most citizenship by investment programs, it can take 6 months, 8 months. Everybody's application looks differently. But this is what they want to make it streamlined, as easy, simple, and efficient as possible. So if you say, I want a new citizenship by the end of this year, you'll definitely, after the due diligence process, and if you're approved, you'll definitely have a citizenship by the end of this year. And we're only 3 months into the year. So, hey, by September. So, yeah, I think those are the basics. And since it's done remotely, you have the choice. Like once you get your passport, would be mailed to you. You have the option, if you don't want to visit, fine. If you want to visit, and you have that citizenship for life. You just have to renew your passport every 10 years, but you have the citizenship for life. And I'm not sure if you're American. I think we all know it's clear that we want to have options because the direction our country is going in. Oof. If we go to a world war, where's the safest place to go? I've heard so many people are going to the Maldives, or a lot of the ultra rich are going to New Zealand. Yes, options. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I spent time in New Zealand. New Zealand is a lovely place, but it is extraordinarily hard to immigrate to. It is very expensive. I believe like the minimum capital you need if you're an investor is like $1 million. And since New Zealand is far from everything and they have to import everything, everything is very expensive. I remember going to the grocery store and buying yogurt because I like vegan yogurt, and it cost me like $15 for like just a jar of yogurt. I did a whole road trip, and maybe I can do a video about that in my expat diaries. But yeah, islands are always like the safest bet when it comes to those that want options and they just want a handy passport just in case. A nice island is good, but Maldives, New Zealand, what are other popular islands? You can share in the comment section that people go to. I know a lot of people like to go to Bali, Indonesia. I haven't been to Bali. That's really interesting because I used to live in Southeast Asia. I was in Thailand, and I've seen beautiful pictures. I've heard great things about Bali, but never been. I don't like to be in the sun. I'm not a beach person, and I hate being in the sun. So maybe that's why I love the cold weather. Hello. And at least with São Tomé Príncipe, the weather's quite, warm throughout the year. The beaches are great, and I've been toured some really beautiful homes. So like this very affluent neighborhood, people have private pools, private tennis courts. Like you can really like live it up here. Some people are doing really well there. I think many Americans were lied to when they say the African continent is poor, like everyone's struggling, and that's just not the case. A lot of middle class and upper middle class Africans are living much better than middle class Americans because you have all this, affordable labor, and you're not raising your family or living in isolation. So, as I was saying earlier, when I was there on business and on the ground, I had a driver, I had a cook, I had a cleaner, I had a translator because the language barriers, and it's normal. It's normal. So it really balanced my nervous system. I think women, as we age, we need to having a relaxed nervous system where you're not trying to balance a million things at the same time is really important. So how about infrastructure and safety? And okay, São Tomé and Príncipe is one of the most safest countries on the African continent because they've never had a civil war. After they gained their independence in the 70s, there was a smooth transition of power, and they just never had a civil war. So it's like one of the safest, politically stable and very safe place to live. As far as infrastructure, they have like 3 main roads. It's a small island. So when I was driving to the south, it's just like one long main road. You do need a car. It is not a place where you can depend on public transportation. And I think that goes for all types of islands. Even when I was in the Caribbean, you have to have a car. So you can import a car. They do have local car dealerships just to get around. I have to say, since I love to walk, because Europe is very much a pedestrian city, it is not a walkable place at all. So you need a car. And again, with a car, you can have a driver. Other infrastructure, I have to say, when it comes to like hospitals and healthcare, a lot of people just go to Portugal. So if you have like any kind of major health care like emergencies, you go to Portugal. But they do have a few hospitals. What other infrastructure? Yes, they have grocery stores, the police stations. I don't know if they have a military. No, I think they have a military. If you want to build, there's a lot of furniture that's like handmade, or again, you import stuff. Like island life is importing stuff. But that's probably the only con I have to say is that you absolutely need a car to get around. But since it's so small, you can get to and from pretty quickly. And it is dark. They could use more street lights. That's another thing. Sometimes I remember the energy. Gosh, they don't have an energy crisis, but I would have to say there was a time where the lights were just out for several hours. But most major hotels and restaurants and more affluent homes, people have generators, and some homes have solar panels. So you just have to just prepare. Be prepared. Yes, so I think that covers if you have any more specific questions about infrastructure. Um, can you drink the water? That's another thing. I'm not sure. I had bottled water. I don't think I drank tap water. But I don't think it's like lethal if you drink the water. Because for example, when I first moved to Thailand, everyone's like, oh my gosh, don't drink the water. The water's so dangerous. And like, so how do people take showers all the time? You can drink the water. I didn't personally do that there, but I'm sure living there long term, you have like water filters. So there's that option. And for shopping, because we all need to shop, I think they have like one mall, but again, people go to Portugal, they go to Spain, they go to mainland Europe, or they go to Angola or to Ghana or to Nigeria. So if you're going to live this, I guess, expat life, you want to, not expat life, but if you're going to get a dual citizenship or third citizenship, you'll definitely want to budget for traveling to the continent or to mainland Europe. And with the São Tomé passport, you do have, I believe, 30 to 90 days, I think, in the EU. It's not going to be, a bunch of paperwork. So you have like the visa-free access to over like 135 countries. So email me for more specific questions, because my team provided a whole entire brochure of all the details about the São Tomé and Príncipe Citizenship by Investment Program and its benefits. Yeah. And also let me know where you're watching from. That helps me learn where the viewers are. Because I think, this year would be 2 years on YouTube. Yes, you're used to island living, so I know some of the challenges here. Good summary. Thank you. Good. I'm not used to island living. So when I was there, I packed a lot of clothes. I, again, made sure I had a driver, and it's good to have a cook, so I didn't have to worry about like grocery shopping. But I did go to a grocery store because I was curious. I'm like, what does a grocery store look like? And everything's just fresh and healthy. You're still in the States, California to be exact. Oh, are you looking to leave the States? I've been to California exactly one time. I don't know where in California you are, but I've heard California has, water shortages. So you're absolutely looking. Okay. So welcome to the live. So I also provide relocation services to Serbia. So if you're not ready to make the jump to citizenship by investment or buying property in the Caribbean or in São Tomé, I provide relocation services to Serbia. So I have a whole entire team. I have the relationships with different property developers. You're in San Francisco. I've been to San Francisco, and the first time, someone should have told me not to book a hotel in the Tenderloin district, because that was a very traumatizing experience. I did not know that area of San Francisco had like a lot of problems. So, and I heard a lot of people have left San Francisco. Everything's expensive. It's not safe. homeless people everywhere. I mean, of course, people need to be housed, but it was just not. People need a warning sign. Because I'm from the East Coast. I'm from the Boston area. I was not prepared for that. Um, if you're going to move abroad, you could do all the research on a city, a country, the people, but moving around the states, it's hard to be like, okay, so what is this, what to expect? Okay, at least 10 years ago, it was not all this information. So, yeah, that area, I didn't know that area of San Francisco was very dangerous. So, lesson learned. I was there at least for 5 days, and that was a tough 5 days. Very tough. Very, very tough. But where are you looking to move to? Are you looking to explore citizenship by investment? Are you looking to move to Serbia? Are you looking to go to Asia? I mean, these days, a lot of people are searching for where to move and how to move, and I'm here to help and add to that conversation because mobility is a flex. Having the option to get up and leave, work from anywhere, own property anywhere, invest it's important. You're preparing to bop around and find your place. That's good. That's good. I did that bopping around until I found my place. So, it's good. It's good. Where are you looking to bop around first? Are you looking Asia, the African continent, the Americas, the Caribbean? And again, it depends on your family size, your budget, what you like. If you're not into island living, obviously São Tomé and Príncipe is not it. I tell clients Serbia is great if you like, 4 seasons because the weather here, it's great. It's not too cold in the winter. It doesn't really snow here much. If you like to walk around, great option. You want to set up a company because do not come to Serbia looking for a job. It's not the best. So remotely working is good. So, you're looking for the Caribbean. Well, if you watch my other lives, I did some lives about being in the Caribbean. So after this, send me an email because the Caribbean, that region has 5 citizenship by investment programs. More expensive than São Tomé and Príncipe, but that's where the whole industry really started in St. Kitts and Nevis. I was in St. Kitts, loved it. And I started playing golf again, which I haven't played since I was like a teenager, which I was really good at. So you have a lot of options in the Caribbean. But traveling within the Caribbean, I learned it's kind of stressful, and you can't have really carry-on bags because a lot of the airlines, the overheads are so tiny. So if you're gonna bop around the Caribbean, make sure you have like a carry-on that's like teeny tiny, and they will charge you for that. There's no such thing as a free carry-on. Just keep that in mind. At least in São Tomé and Príncipe, you can fly. It takes like under an hour to go from the small island São Tomé to Príncipe. I think the closest island is Cape Verde. Let me look on my phone's over there. There are some other islands, but São Tomé and Príncipe is a bit far out. You're welcome. My email address is blair@blairandbeyond.com. So I can give you a lot of information, especially about the 5 CBI islands. I can't speak for other islands outside of Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia. So, but all others that are watching, feel free to ask questions below. We can talk more about citizenship by investment options because the agency I represent, they have agencies here in Europe for clients that want to move to Europe. But today I want to talk about São Tomé and Príncipe because everyone, especially that's stuck unfortunately in Dubai or at least in the UAE or in Qatar, in those places, as I've never been, but from my understanding, in that area of the world, it is almost impossible to get a citizenship. Even if you live there for 20 years, you're still a guest. And I think this war really opened people's eyes that no place is perfectly safe, especially if there's a U.S. military base. And at least in São Tomé and Príncipe, there's no nearby military bases. You at least get a citizenship, right? So while Dubai or the UAE and the Qatar and Bahrain, and some of them do have residency programs, they do not have citizenship by investment programs. So just a thought. Okay. So what else can I share about São Tomé and Príncipe? Since I don't speak Portuguese, you definitely will. I think if you're gonna go there, it would be good to maybe pick up on some Portuguese words. But if you have someone like an assistant or your driver or someone that can translate, it would be very easy to get away with not speaking Portuguese. I know it's very American just to go to a place and say, I don't want to learn the language, but they do heavily rely on tourism, so people do speak English. If you have any French language skills or Spanish language skills, those are some good language skills to have on your back pocket in case you want to visit there. And I do recommend to clients, like, take a visit. It is a really beautiful place to see for yourself. Because I don't recommend, I know in this industry, a lot of people invest and sometimes they don't ever go to the island. They just want to have that citizenship or that passport in their cupboard. But I recommend visiting São Tomé and Príncipe because it is beautiful. It would be a great place just to spend a summer or a couple of weeks in the year. You don't have to live there permanently or full time. You can do part time. You can say once a year I spend like a week there. You have the option. But it is a beautiful place and quite easy to get to. Depending on where you're coming in the world, come to Europe, go via Lisbon. And when I went, I stayed like half a day at the Four Seasons in Lisbon, the Four Seasons or the Four Seasons Ritz-Carlton in Lisbon. Had an afternoon tea, just like I had my afternoon tea party this weekend for International Women's Day. I got my nails done, and then I went to the airport in the evening. I took an evening flight, and I arrived the next day at 7 a.m. in the morning. So it's quite straightforward travel. And I don't know if you're flying from the US, depending if you're flying from New York or if you're flying to the UK, you have to definitely go through Lisbon. So when it comes to having it all, whether you're single or married or you have children, not only just having that, I guess, a village to help raise your kids or help you running your household, but if you're an entrepreneur and you want to work remotely, the time zone, São Tomé and Príncipe is, I think, because I'm in Belgrade, they're about 2 hours behind me. So you're in a pretty good time zone. So you could kind of balance between US and European time, depending on your mode of business. For example, when I was in New Zealand, I was like a day ahead of everyone. It was just, again, very beautiful place, very expensive, but it was, time zone is like I'm 12 or 13 hours ahead of everything and everyone. So it was just not for me. When I lived in Asia, specifically when I was in Bangkok, you're still long ahead of people. So depending on your mode of business, you want to look at, if I'm going to live somewhere full-time or part-time, what time zone am I going to operate in? And if you're a morning person, fine, you can wake up early. If you're an evening person, stay up late. I'm very much of a morning person. I'd rather get as much done at 6 or 7 a.m. That's another thing to consider. But again, the sun sets quite early at like 5. Everything gets dark at 5 in São Tomé and Príncipe because it's right near the equator. And the day that I drove from the main capital city, São Tomé, to like the south, it was a very cloudy and like kind of raining on and off day. We were supposed to go to this small island that's like literally sits on the equator, but the weather was bad. So you can easily do day trips. It took about 4 hours, 4.5 hours. Well, because we made some stops, but to drive to the south of the island. And it was a really beautiful drive just to see all this greenery. I saw a volcano, an inactive volcano. Um, we made several stops to different little villages, and yeah, the beaches there. It was nice. You could see on my TikTok and on my YouTube, because I did some videos for my client, spokeswoman of NTL Trust. You can follow their YouTube page of the scenery of São Tomé Príncipe. So, everyone is so quiet. Look, I used to be a teacher, and while I don't mind lecturing, I feel like the best way to learn is to ask questions and we can interact. Okay. I'm trying to remember. Did I have a coat? I had like a jacket with me when I was in Sao Tome. So while like the weather remains stable, it's always good to carry a light jacket with you. And I went in September, so I don't know what it's like in the winter time. I don't think it obviously doesn't snow, but it's good to have like a coat. And the food I ate, so aside from local food, I also had, of course, my burger and french fries. So there are restaurants that serve more international cuisine, which was really good because not a lot of people know how to make burgers and fries. Like I like nice, thin, crispy fries. The local food included a lot of fish, rice and beans, plantains, which I miss so much because I could not find plantains at all in Serbia. I think there's like maybe one or two stores that sell plantains, so I ate a lot of healthy, fresh food when I was there. I'm a big dessert person. They did have like banana cake, banana bread, cupcakes, because every country has like some type of unique dessert. Of course, a lot of fresh fruits. So if you're a foodie, you have options. You do have options. And I'm trying to think, for drinks, they do have alcohol, a lot of different types of alcohol. So if you want your beers, if you want your champagnes or prosecco or whiskey, they do have it all. It's gonna be a bit pricier because everything has to be imported, but they do have the selection of alcoholic beverages that you may be used to having at home or in different resorts or hotels that you find yourself coming across. So, any questions? I don't know if I want to end this live. I feel that there's more that I can share about São Tomé and Príncipe. Okay. Blair, your Nutrislog face is getting better. You're starting to assimilate slowly and surely. Thank you. I've learned I have to just. We're getting crooked here. I can't be so happy all the time. It has definitely attracted the wrong energy. So, but when I'm passionate about a subject and a place that I've been to, the smiley and giggly part of me comes out. So I don't know, maybe I'll do another live about Serbia. But I feel like, I do videos and I'll be publishing a video tomorrow about Belgrade. I just want to focus São Tomé Príncipe. Yeah. So, any more questions about São Tomé Príncipe? Or about Serbia or the Caribbean? I can lightly touch on the Caribbean. If not, I will be ending this live. I have to prepare for the week. This weekend, yesterday was super busy. My goodness, I went to a wine show and I had my tea party yesterday. So if you are watching this in the replay in the future, feel free to send me an email, blair@blairandbeyond.com. My website, Blair in Belgrade, it still works. Blair in Belgrade or blairandbeyond.com. I do have a page where I talk about citizenship by investment. Send me an email, and I work with a licensed marketing agency that will handle the whole entire process for applying for a citizenship by investment, or you can work with my team for relocating to Serbia. So, okay, we'll end here. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you later in the week because I think I can do 2 lives a week. I think that's good. And hope everyone had a beautiful International Women's Day. Okay? Bye!